Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Planet Tyro review. It's been a while, but I'm back here with my buddy, the Catface Killer, again.
Yeah, again. I was gonna say another review.
Another review, guys. We already did this Elite or Bad Angel review discussion, whatever you want to call it. Skype screwed us over. We're doing it again. I thought it was a great discussion. Hopefully, I haven't lost my zeal. I've seen the movie actually an extra time since that recording, so I've seen the movie twice, but honestly, my opinion has not changed on the movie. And Catface Killer, I want to just thank you for being on, for 8-9 years. We've been wanting to discuss, we've been wanting to do this discussion for the longest time, and now we get to do it again.
Yeah, again. It reminds me of that time when you're helping me. I don't remember what we were doing on my computer, but you got me a virus. You remember that?
Whatever, man. All right, guys, let's just get on with the review, man. So the Alita Battle Angel is one of the most lengthy, most desired anime adaptation. James Cameron said it was a passion project for him. He was a big fan of the manga. They've been going back and forth about doing it. So many false starts. He passed the project on to Robert Rodriguez, and people were not happy about it. So now, James Cameron's doing 4 or 5 Avatar sequels. The movie's been out for nearly 3 weeks now. So at least before we get into our discussion, to be fair, let's talk about a little bit what the consensus is, what the ratings are saying, and then me and Catface will go into our discussion again on what we think about the movie. So as of Tuesday, the 19th of February, when we talk about the money, the box office of Alita, it's actually done 43 million stateside in the US, the domestic box office. Internationally, it's done 97 million, but it hasn't opened up in every out place. I think China's still waiting for it to come out. There's still some Asian territories that haven't seen it yet, so there's more money to come. The budget is estimated to be about 200 million. So right now, the movie is tracking to be breaking even.
Is it really 200? I thought it was like 140.
Yeah, but it was 140, but there's advertising that they didn't budget into that. That's just
okay. Yeah.
And there was a massive advertising campaign for this. In fact, they open up extra stalls. I think is it Universal? They've got a little fan bit. Anyway, I don't want to get into this. James Cameron pushed a lot into this movie, particularly with the advertising, bringing it up to 200 million, about to break even. If we go to Rotten Tomatoes, well, this is funny. The first time we did the review, the discussion, it was actually at 60%, which is fresh. Now it's dropped to 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. So critics, and that's for Rotten Tomatoes. That's a rotten score for critics, which is odd. But the fans have given it a 93. And IMDb is giving it a 7.6. So for all intents and purposes, the movie is doing above average. The word of mouth is that it's good, not great. That pretty much covers what everyone else is saying. So Catface, I'm going to ask you, after the long wait, after all of our talk about it, we did talk about the anime manga. I should have said that. We did a discussion on the anime manga before this.
Yeah, plug us, dude. Totally plug us.
We did the anime. We did a long talk about this is Catface Killer's favorite manga. Period. By the way, one of his favorite stories.
Actually, favorite story of all time. I've said it on recording a few times.
Yeah. So we had a discussion. It did really well on YouTube. I put in the top right hand corner of the YouTube card. Yeah, man. So Catface, I want to know from you first. What did you think of this movie? Well,
to recap what I said last time, I feel like you took the words right out of my mouth from the last time we did this. Good, not great. I'm trying to look at this as a film for the general audience, not people who are super hardcore fans of the source material like I am. And later on, I'll try to do more of like a fan of the source material. But right now I'm just looking at it as a movie, for anybody. I felt like a few things, like it was 2 hours, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it was too slow for 2 hours in general speaking. Like the entire flow of the movie, 2 hours, they could have trimmed things or they could have sped things up and done more. Otherwise, the length, that's good, not great. The visuals, very beautiful. I actually regret not seeing it in 3D. And I believe you didn't see it in 3D the second time either, which should haunt you forever.
Nah, I'm okay.
I don't see you seeing it a third time.
I'm not the biggest fan of 3D, to be honest with you. Honestly, I'm just not. And James Cameron is the master of this. So if you're gonna see any movie in 3D, the James Cameron movie should be. But I'm just not broken up about seeing this in 3D, to be honest with you.
Okay. Moving on. The acting. I felt like the acting helped save the movie not be a terrible experience, because this potentially had all the right ingredients to be horrible, but the acting was so good. In fact, I can't really find a whole lot of flaws in the acting other than God, what was her name? Rosa? Is it Rosa Salazar?
Correct.
Okay, good. Oh, I smoke weed, so I kind of forget things. Yeah, her acting was actually really great, except for there's a couple. I mean, this is based off of a martial artist, so some of her battle cries kind of took me out of the moment when she was like, "Hi-ya!" and it made me like, "Oh, really, dude?" But
that was
otherwise, funny. Yeah, otherwise it was really good overall. I mean, everybody acted pretty great, I think.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
Nah, and you know what? Let me jump. We might as well go back and forth with the positives. I completely agree. The fact that they got 2 Oscar winners up in here, Christoph Waltz and Mahershala Ali in here, which are 2 very great actors, making the performances really good. The main actress they chose, Rosa Salazar, is really good, really convincing. Maybe a bit corny, heroic, but that's anime adaptation for you, so it makes sense. And she's a badass, and it makes sense. The acting was really good. There's only one actor I didn't like, Jennifer Connelly. I just thought she was too deadpan. She didn't bring much to the role at all, even as...
I forgot about her. You know what? That just speaks to her, because she's in the anime, and that's like one of the things I always talk about when I talk about Alita is the anime is a little bit different than the manga. She's not in the manga.
Yeah.
And so her acting, completely forgettable.
Yeah. And the visuals, like you said, are great, breathtaking. One thing that people criticize about this movie, which to be honest with you, I prefer, with a lot of these Hollywood movies that are trying to do mechas like Transformers and even Pacific Rim, sometimes they're very dark and you can't see all the action, especially for when you got a lot of green screen, a lot of CG. But James Cameron made this movie very bright, and I know that goes against what people said about this dirty earthbound city with all this mecha, and it's just gruff. It's meant to look more dirty, but it's bright. You can see everything, and the action's clear. And for a CG movie, I think that's really great, and the attention to detail is great here, so I really enjoyed that. So on the whole, like you said, which we'll dig into a bit more, the movie was good, not great. I came out of it thinking that was a good, fun romp, and for an anime adaptation, I think that's fantastic. I don't just think that's good for an anime adaptation specifically. I think that's fantastic. But again, we're going to talk about this movie as like a movie on its own and an anime adaptation for the fans, because I think that's where you kind of... Well, to be honest, I think there's a middle ground between both, which is enjoyable, but I appreciate it more as a fan of the source material done right, which again, we spoke about Dragon Ball Evolution, Death Note, Ghost in the Shell. These are very, very failed anime adaptations. So coming out of this movie, I was proud it was done right with high caliber actors, and those are the things I really like about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, being honest, in a sentence, just as our review system, I would say this hovered between a high watchable and a low solid B. Just as somebody who's not like super into the source material, just depends on what things you like.
Yeah.
As a fan, as you were talking about all those terrible anime adaptations, I don't think there's been one. I guess Old Boy people kind of liked. I haven't seen it, and I don't want to see it because they added incest into it for some reason. But I think that's like the only anime that's done okay,
that's
and that's not
point.
great either.
I forgot about Old Boy, the movies. Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
good
you
point.
only call me by my original name all the time.
And you constantly remind me that's not even what you named yourself after as well, which is
no, it's not. It's just because I love like old music and stuff, and that's why I went with that name. People are always like, "Is this why you named yourself Old Boy?"
You love manga and you called the Old Boy. No, I think that's a mediocre manga. Actually, I was like, okay.
Actually, the manga is interesting, but I don't think it translates well to Western audiences because it's about loneliness, which is something that doesn't really translate over to Western cultures and stuff with the way that Japan is set up. But that's getting off subject.
Let's get to the things that we don't like about Alita, because I can start that too.
Oh man.
All right, let me say what I said before for the first time for you listeners. I think this movie, you said about you think it was too long. I actually think they crammed in too much into this movie, but I understand why they did it, because when you watch the original, let's start with the anime. When you watch the anime, it's only 50 minutes. It only covers basically kind of a rush first volume, the Hugo romance, the Alita finding herself becoming a huntress. If they covered that in this movie, the emotion of the romance and tragedy would have worked more. But I understand, as a sci-fi movie, Hollywood wants to sell you on spectacle and great, CG and stuff like that. So they took elements from, the second volume. They even went further and explained things about her past that you do not find out for a longer time in the manga. So, I understand, for a Hollywood experience, they have to do it. I thought it was a good concession, but the big problem is, because they put so much in this movie, it loses a lot of weight. The tragedy does not work at all because it needed more time. The actors do a good enough job with what they're given, but you cannot convince me or make me feel for these characters within 2 hours. And they put there's a lot of people, a lot of things going on, a lot of things they change. So at the end of the day, it's just the weight of the content that they put in here. The execution can't emotionally grab you with all of that in 2 hours. This is for a TV series. It just wouldn't grab you in a movie. And that's what they did here. But as a romp, one-time experience, it's okay. But again, I've seen the anime, I've read the manga. I was disappointed with that, and it didn't hit hard.
Yeah, Battle Angel Alita manga, probably my favorite story of all time, because it's a very touching story. You really feel for the character and you can empathize with her, and just her journey is really incredible, for character building and everything. But in this movie, like, for example, a large part of it is the romance of Alita and Hugo, or is it Hugo or Hugo in this movie?
It's Hugo in this movie. I think it's Hugo in the manga.
Hugo, okay. Yeah. So Hugo, the best way to put this is, like, the story of Alita is an empty character with, she has amnesia. She doesn't know anything about herself, and she grows throughout the entire story, from like a childhood to rebellious teenage years to young adulthood by the end of the story. So this part was supposed to be focused on her, like, as a childlike mentality. So the love she has with Hugo is supposed to be kind of kiddie, but in the anime, in the manga, actually, I don't know if they talk about what happened. They talk about what happens in the anime too, with Hugo's past. So with his brother and the one hunter warrior that they like gave a cameo to, but he has no purpose because like they didn't say anything about Hugo's past.
Yeah.
But it actually explains why he's so obsessed with trying to get into Salem too. Like it's just like, oh, I hate living down here. I want to go up where the socialites are and everything. And the actual story, it's like his brother died because he was very curious. He wanted to go up in the air balloon and check out Salem, and he was betrayed by, I think it was his girlfriend, it might have been his wife, and that just, it messed up Hugo and he ran away. And that's how he becomes who he is when he meets Alita. In this one, he's just like some guy that's hustling. Okay. I mean, I guess.
I don't, even in the manga, when it comes to Hugo's character in the anime, manga, and the movie, well, okay, so manga's superior, of course, but in this movie, I thought they did a good enough job. In the anime, when you see him, he's shorter than Alita, he looks a snot nose. Again, their romance does seem very, I don't want to say pubescent. It feels really like young and kiddie.
That's what it feels like to me, honestly, when I read it, and I think that's what it's supposed to be, because Alita is like, by the end of the first volume, she has her first really big step in becoming who she's going to become with her defeating Makaku.
Yeah.
That's before even all that stuff with Hugo is resolved. So she's like, I would say by the end of where the movie ends, it's supposed to be like she's, I don't know, mentally between 10 to 12. And Hugo is like around that age too, I think. I don't think he's like a mid-teenager or older.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't mind that there obviously it's more tween, young adult in this movie in Hollywood westernized. Not bad, I understand, but again, didn't have the weight. Let me bring up something that I know a lot of the anime manga apologists are bringing up about this movie. The whole James Cameron bailing on the movie, giving it to Rodriguez.
Fuck that guy, man. I'm never gonna accept that apology.
No. What I mean is that they're saying this could have been better if Cameron took it all the way. Well, here's the thing. Looking at the movie, the only thing... All right, let's talk about James Cameron. If you look at his previous movies, even Avatar and Titanic, he does focus more on the characters. Romance and the action is at the third place. So I feel like if he did do the story, he would have evened it out more with, just focusing like the anime on the first part of her, becoming a hunter and the romance, and would have ended it there. Rodriguez, I feel like his input was taken more on, the action heavy scenes and, the blitzball or the blade, whatever that, I can't remember what that game's called. Rollerball, sorry, the rollerball aspects, which are really cool and would definitely sell to Western audiences. And this is the thing, people say, oh, James Cameron's the reason why this doesn't hit hard. James Cameron's the reason why you don't love this movie as much as you love Avatar and Titanic. And I'm like, you might be right, but I think
I don't love Avatar or Titanic.
No,
so
I
that's
know.
not a valid argument with me.
But people connect with those a lot more. There's an X factor in those movies, whether it's the romance. I know they say they're basic, they're very, very basic, but those are in your memory. Those people adore them. They made billions. This movie, I don't want to say it's schlock, but the action stands out and the coolness stands out. But the characters,
it's definitely for action and coolness, not for anything else.
Exactly. And that's the thing that James Cameron does better, what this movie was missing. So I do understand people saying that, oh, if James Cameron did. But here's the thing. I think if James Cameron did do that movie where it's more about Alita finding herself and just this romance, I don't think that movie would have mass appeal. I think it would become very niche. I could be wrong. Let me give you an example. A movie I saw recently that reminds me of this is Blade Runner. Blade Runner with Harrison Ford and...
Oh, the original. Okay.
No, not even the original. The sequel that just came out, 2048.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet, but tell me about it.
Well, here's the thing. That is a much more cerebral, emotional, about romance, it's very pensive, about, psychology and that. And that's what this movie was missing, but that movie didn't do well at all. It's highly respected. I think it's a phenomenal sci-fi cyberpunk movie, just in the vein of Alita. Great movie. Doesn't have that much action, but again, if Alita was more like that, I think it would be more respected by the anime community. And even the film historians, just like Blade Runner 2048, people say that was a great movie, of the last 2 years. It was a great movie, but it didn't do a lot of money. People see it as a failure. And, but then it, I know I'm veering a little bit off topic, but then it's like, you say, James Cameron, you say it was your passion project. Why did you bail, man? Why did you bail? Why did you
my thing, like, people were like, oh, it'll be so much greater than Cameron did it. Dude, he had every fucking opportunity to do it. Don't use that argument when the guy, he literally just like, well, I could do it, but I could just throw money at you and say I did it, which is what he did. He just threw money at you. He's the executive producer.
Yeah. So I don't know. I said this to you before as well, that the way they mix this movie, again, it's an adaptation. It's fine. It doesn't need to copy. The manga's its own thing. The animator's its own thing. This is his own thing. That's fine. As soon as you watch, if you've, read the source material, you can see this is going in a much more Western direction, which is fine. They're still very faithful to a certain point, but they took a lot of elements where it feels like if they continued this, it wouldn't be a 3-part movie. It would be a 2-part because they use so much elements from the manga, and it doesn't feel like the story has much more to go. And for them to go further, I mean, if this movie does $1 billion, would they extend it to, the space war and all that other stuff that I didn't even read? I read the original manga, which I really like. The other future stuff, I don't really care for. So I'm kind of satisfied. And I know people are disappointed that this movie didn't do better. The fans especially, like, oh man, he didn't do it right. But, the reception's okay. And I kind of wrap it up. I got more to say, but I want to say this. I'm happy more for the anime live action adaptation future of movies when this one is done considerably better than what we've had before from the anime, manga, live action Western community. So for me, it's a step in the right direction. Was this mishandled? I wouldn't say mishandled. They took it in, they just decided that, you know what, the pensive stuff, meh. Rodriguez is like, if you're giving this to me, this is what I'll do with it. That disappoints me, but it wasn't terrible. Would I watch a sequel? Yes. But I already know what to expect based on this, and it's more schlocky. But again, I would, like, I want them to see this and be like, you know what? In 10 years, let's give it a series. Let's do it again. Let's go on a network and let's do it better. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's kind of my takeaway from this a bit, you know? It was good, and it was better than I thought it would be based off the trailer, but it didn't reach its full potential. But in Rodriguez's hands, this is exactly what I expected.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is actually more than what I expected with Cameron bailing and Rodriguez taking over, which is obviously a very good thing. I am surprised because the original manga is really gory, and Rodriguez's style is like overly gratuitous with blood, but there was very little blood despite all the action. So that was something that kind of stuck out to me. But I mean, I want people to just stop talking about Cameron, because like he could have did it, he didn't do it. That's really open and shut sort of deal. Like if he wanted to do it, he would have done it. He didn't. And that's really all I have to say on that matter. I do hope somebody will pick it up and do a TV series with it, because this is really, it has the right ingredients to be a 3-part movie. The original manga run of Battle Angel Alita, but you literally have to lift it like page to screen.
Sure.
And not fuck around with it at all like everybody's going to want to. So if you want to dick around and tweak with it, make it a TV series, dude. Like, and you know what? If you make it a TV series, that means you can tap into Last Order and Mars Chronicles easily if it maintains a popular enough run, and you can literally have a series that runs for like 4, 5, 6 seasons.
Look, man, I'm the guy that thought Speed Racer, the live action movie, was a good anime adaptation to live action as well. People always hate me for that, but again, Speed Racer, I don't know. Do you ever see Speed Racer, the live action movie?
I've seen the cartoon. I have not seen the live action movie.
It is so...
I don't remember ever hearing this from you.
No, it's really... I really like it. It's wacky. It's so much like them. It's a super favorite adaptation, and that means it is insane. And I think it's fantastic, but people hate it.
Who hates it? People who don't know Speed Racer, or people who are love... Okay, that makes sense, because like the fucking racing cartoon is really wacky. It's like you have a little kid and a monkey that always hang out in the trunk and get into trouble. The car can go into water and jump like from little jacks that shoot out of the bottom of the car, and all sorts of crazy physics defying shit.
Well, when we spoke about this last time, you even pointed out to me that Alita is actually based in the States. That's where the story is actually based. So it's actually more Western than you would actually think. It's not like Speed Racer where it's got them, you know, idiosyncrasies of Japan, and it's very quirky. Alita is a cyberpunk action series that, you know, that movie Elysium is very similar. It has similarities to this as well. So you've seen stuff like this before. Blade Runner, you've seen similarities to this before. But, you know, it's a story that Rodriguez did in a different way and made it generic, more generic, put a lot in. And I think I should talk about what pissed people off. And I don't want to forget this.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's talk about watching this movie not knowing the anime, not knowing the manga. You watch this movie and it does things that would piss even me off. You don't know anything about the source material. You see all these characters, and then when the movie ends, it shows you the puppet master, who's a predominant actor, by the way. And then you're like, oh, it's one of these movies where you're telling me there's more to come. You're assuming I'm going to watch the rest. And a lot of people are upset by that. I was surprised that so many people were like, this movie was, you know, when you watch these movies like the Hunger Games and even movies like the Maze Runner and of all these, there's a lot of these young adult movies that never finish, or they act like they're so great and they set up all these things. There's a lot of movies that fail on even actually superhero movies like Green Lantern, and you know, we're in a comic book phase where people bank on franchises, and they promise you a lot in one movie, and they don't focus on the one movie. You watch this movie, to clarify what I'm saying, you watch this movie and you feel like it's a trilogy already. They're setting things up. You know, Alita has beef with some people by the end of this movie that isn't resolved. So they're setting you up for another movie. And a lot of people just want to watch a good movie where it feels like the studio's like, no, make sure the audience knows that if they pay more money, you're going to get more of this. And I did understand that frustrated a lot of people. I read the manga, so I liked that kind of stuff. But a lot of people watched this movie and thought, you are selling this movie for more than it actually is. I don't care about all this other stuff. I don't care about this Puppet Master Sherm at the end. You know, I'm sick and tired of Hollywood always telling me this is a trilogy. I just want to watch one good movie, and if I want to see more, I'll show him my dollars. And obviously, to me, I expected them to do that. But if I did watch this, again, I've watched movies like this that have done that pissed me off. So I understand a lot of people just saying, look, I'm not going to watch part 2, okay? You should have, the ending, to be continued, or watch what she does next. And people don't like that. And
I'm a little curious.
Yeah.
You've had movies where you hated that. What are movies that did it that you didn't hate?
You know what, man? That's a good question. You know what? Let me kind of sidestep your question by saying this. Dredd, the movie, Judge Dredd.
Dredd. Yeah, that was a good one.
Great movie.
I didn't hate that.
Great movie. Didn't really... You knew there was a world, but the way they made the movie, it was self-contained. It didn't leave that, you know, Judge Dredd's on the run, or, you know, it just ended. And, you know, you just rewatch that movie again and again and again, and you just felt like it was one great movie. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. You know what? That was a great analogy. I actually agree with that a lot.
Batman vs. Superman is a movie that set up so many things, was so presumptuous. Superman died because it was based off the Death of Superman comic. And then in the next movie, they completely reversed it. So, you know, studios have a knack for just forcing, pretending or assuming. And, you know, people are used to that with these franchise movies. But with Alita, it bothered a lot of people. I was surprised how many people it bothered. But again, if I didn't know about the franchise, I didn't read the manga, I might just be... I don't think I would have as much distaste for it as I'm seeing. But I understand it annoyed people. And again... Do I think they did it well? I will say this without spoiling it. The movie has a tragic element to it. If they ended on that element like they did in the anime, I think it would have hit harder. But the movie instead, after that tragic element happens, it has a little to be continued moment for the next movie. And that's what pissed people off. And I thought they dropped the ball, because when something tragic happens, it's good to, I think for me, it's a good way to tell in the story, to be like, man, you know, Titanic is a good example. James Cameron maybe a good example. Has a tragic ending. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. It's very memorable. This movie had that built in. That's how the volume ends. But this movie decided not to go that way. It decided to be a franchise movie and say that, yeah, that happened. But next time, Alita's going to do this. And I thought, they really shot themselves in the foot with doing that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they shot themselves in the foot like 6 or 7 times, honestly. But
yeah,
that ending, yeah, not a fan of that little, like, 45 seconds, a minute monologue, wrap it up sort of shit. I feel like if you're going to set up something for a 2-parter, you don't need to tell your audience verbally what's going on. You just do it. Just do it and set it up. Yeah, yeah. Especially with it's not a trilogy movie. It's not part 2. It's part 1. Just let the movie speak on its own. But you know what? I'm going on and on about this movie like, oh my God, I wanted to... Alita, full disclosure, is not my favorite manga. It is. I think it's a really great story, but it's not a sword I'm going to die on. And I think as an adaptation, it's okay. I think it's fine. Yeah. I don't want to go on and on about it forever. Like, oh my God, it's Akira. If it was Akira, then I probably could moan and bitch about it. But yeah, like I said, let me focus on the positives. This is a very good step for the anime Americanized live adaptations. The last one we spoke about was fucking Death Note. Oh God, I forgot about that until you brought it up right now. I think you even mentioned that last time we were recording
I did
this
because I
Alita
I
thing.
want I want that to be
Just
fresh.
fucking, I don't want it to be fresh in my mind. I just want
No,
to blank it
no,
out.
I do because the reason why the director of that movie said, "I know anime. I don't want to be one of them directors that do it bad." And what he did to that movie was a true bastardization. That guy, he took that movie and turned it into something it was not at all. He destroyed the canon. He changed it. I don't know what and it was ridiculous. After that, oh, everyone talks about Dragon Ball Evolution, The Last Airbender, and even Ghost in the Shell, but Death Note really upset me. You know, it was like, wow. I know it was Netflix, and I know whatever. So this, it was very good. I was watching more. This isn't the manga, but I do want to say that you asked me this. I'm going to prompt you to ask me anyway. You asked me on the last the lost discussion that
Okay, hold on, I know what question you're gonna ask. So let's say people actually are like, yeah, you know what? That would be a lot better as a TV series than as like a 2 or 3 part movie. What streaming service would you like it to be on?
it has to be HBO.
Has to be HBO. Yeah, agreed.
And I have to base this on the one series that has a lot in common with it. That is Westworld. Now we never spoke about Westworld season 2, but Westworld season 1 was phenomenal. Season 2 was even more magnificent. You know, they had the CG, but it was character based. Forget about the CG, forget about all that stuff. It was a character based story with a little bit of action, but the character based stuff was so good that HBO has to do it. And I don't need Alita to be super flashy action. That's cool, but to me, well, actually, okay, the flashy action and stuff is really cool. The cyberpunk action is really cool as well, but they need to follow the manga. The story's there, the psychology is there, the pensiveness is there. HBO would do it right. Netflix would basically do what Rodriguez has done. They would focus more on the action. That's what they've done. A lot of anime. They've done a lot of adaptations. Right now, they've got this series called The Umbrella Academy right now. It's flashy. It's based off a comic as well. It's very flashy, action based. You know, Netflix is a bit more about the glitz and the surface level stuff. So Alita, I just want it to be more pensive, to be a little bit more serious. The HBO show, they've got the money to do that. I think it's wishful thinking, without a doubt. It's probably not going to happen. But I want to see adaptation. But this movie is fine. It did well. It surpassed my expectations. And like you said, I would give it a solid B. Not even a low or a high or a plus. A solid B.
You're generous.
I saw it twice, and I felt the same way.
You did see it twice. Yeah, I will admit that. That's solid B material, yeah.
The more I think about it, it's just the way they ended it with that actor reveal, and that actor they picked at the end to be the big bad guy as well. The person, which I'm not going to spoil who it was, he himself is not doing himself any favors, but he's an actor I really do like. I do like him, but this movie had a lot of actors in here where I thought to myself, I don't know if I ever see these guys again.
Really?
Like if they continued, right, I wouldn't be surprised if we cast half of them. Except for Dr. Edo, of course.
What, for production reasons?
I don't want to spoil the movie, but some of them died, of course, but and obviously Professor Edo again would be absolutely catastrophic, ridiculous, and him and Alita had the best chemistry story in this movie. They are the heart of the movie, and they do really, really well. The movie would have been better if it was just them two and the Hunter stuff and the Hugo stuff. Would have been a lot better, but yeah, man. I think I've prattled on long enough about this. I'll let you have the last word.
I would say so. That was just the positive stuff, right? Because we kept dipping into the negative stuff.
To be honest with you, I kind of done on both. Now this is your favorite story, so this is your chance to dig a little bit deeper, go and, nitpick, so to speak. But again, guys, you're on Planet Tybo. We spoke about the anime and manga. This is what you want him to do. If you want generic discussions, there's hundreds of times. You want a fan to talk about what they like and what they don't like. So I'm going to give the floor to the Catface Killer to talk about the other stuff about the manga he didn't like or loved. So keep going, man. Go for it.
All right. So here's my whole thing when I think of Alita, the manga, versus Alita, the movie. And you kind of touched on these things, but I'll actually go deeper into it. I would love HBO to pick up Alita, and it's because they do character-driven stories. Alita is a character-driven story. It's a a great one. It's the perfect example of one where you have a character who just grows from nothing, just like a little child to a grown adult. That's what makes it wonderful. That's like the biggest draw to me in terms of the manga, like overall. Not even the artwork, the action, any of that other stuff. It's this facet of the story. So they have different ingredients in the movie that kind of touch on it, kind of work towards that, but they don't double down on it like they should have. That's what makes the story very special and unique in the manga. They should have done it with the movie. I know probably financially it's a real risk looking at it. It's scary. But what they did instead, like the biggest problem with this movie, not even as a fan of the source material, is it halfway stuff. And it halfway so many things that the movie spreads out to 2 hours. So a lot of stuff could have been focused on more and condensed, and other things cut out. A lot of things could have been condensed, and the time could have been shortened, and it could have been more focused and a much better movie, I think, in terms of the story. But I mean, visually, I liked it a lot. People wanted it to be darker, but I don't have a problem with how bright it is. And actually, when I think about the distant future and this scenario, I mean, why wouldn't it be brighter? Like, it's a nightlife city, honestly. So even at night, it should be not super dark all the time, at least in most areas, in my mind.
Yeah.
Some of the changes they made in the story literally prevent them from doing things that happen in the manga later on.
Yeah.
Like, here's the best way to put it. The main driving force in Alita's journey is Destiny Nova. Even from the first volume on, he's mentioned, but you never see him until like halfway through the story. Like, he does not have he's just a very shadowy, elusive, anonymous, hand of God sort of character that's very whimsical. Even he does really terrible things and he does really incredible things for people, just seemingly on a whim. So by the time you first see him, he's like this you're really curious about this character, like, and how he's gonna be. And it turns out like he's kind of all over the place. He's like a genius that's diabolical, that's willing to do anything just to see what happens. That's like, he's a scientist. That's what he is. In the movie, he's just like the overlord. Oh, I see everything. I'm higher everything. I got to control everything out in the distance sort of figure sort of thing going on. And that's boring. It's been done forever. The Destiny Nova from the manga is it's like one of the greatest villains, honestly, in all anime and manga, if you ask me. So, right. Because he's interesting. He's very interesting. Alita eventually leaves the scrapyard, or Iron City as it's called in the movie, to pursue Destiny Nova. Well, if he's already in Salem, why is she leaving the scrapyard? There's like literally no point. If she doesn't leave the scrapyard, there's so many things that happen that you can't do anymore. She can't become, I don't want to call it like a spy, but it's like a tracker or something that's hunting, because she's supposed to be hunting down Destiny Nova. Yeah. So she can't do that, which is it's called Tuned. She's an agent of Tuned. She can't do that because that's all outside of the scrapyard. She can't meet the figure 4 from the manga. I mean, I guess he could be thrown in there anywhere, but she meets him outside of the scrapyard, and that's like the next big moving point in her life in terms of relationships from when she's a kid. It really was touching as a fan. I mean, I did love it, but I also hated that the relationship between her and Ito is much more defined in this movie than it was in the manga. A huge motivating factor for Alita to do anything that comes on later on in the story is that she has unresolved issues with Ito before he leaves the scrapyard, and she's chasing after him too. So, like, you can't have that if her relationship with Ito is all set up and fine and dandy, and she has no qualms about it. She has no uncertainty about it, which is a large part of why she chases after Ito. I mean, I guess she technically could if she still, saw him as a father, loved him, but it's a very different story than, because you have so much regret about wasting the time you had with such an important person in your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, Barjack. Okay, so the whole point of Barjack, which is outside of the scrapyard too, is they want to take Salem down, which is literally how the movie kind of ends. It's like she wants to be the one to take it down or something. I'm not actually even clear if she's just trying to get up there. She wants to actually bring down the whole social structure or whatever. Barjack wants to do that. This rebel group that's out in the Badlands or whatever, the Wastelands, whatever it's called. So she can't leave the scrapyard. She can't meet Barjack. Barjack doesn't have any point to exist. And it's just like, these are such huge storylines and story elements. Like, why? Like, if you want to do a sequel, that would have been something that really appealed to our generation. I kind of understand you saying they're going for the young adult, young teenagers, mid-teenagers sort of audience, but this story was meant for adults. Like, it's a seinen. It's not meant for that.
Yeah.
To make that change is kind of mind-boggling to me, because our generation is the one that spends all the money on this shit, not the teenagers. They have allowances. We have jobs.
You say that, man, but they had one F-bomb in this movie that I thought was pretty cool.
One F-bomb is allowed. What is it? One F-bomb is allowed for, I want to say, is it PG-13 now?
Yeah, that's it. PG-13.
So it's like, it surprised me, but I was like, well, I mean, unless they say it again, I already know where this movie is now, because I didn't know anything about it other than the trailer I watched before I went.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, though, I love the way it looked. It does have more positives than negatives, especially in terms of where we can hope anime to film adaptation goes. It's actually a very good benchmark for where it's been all this time.
Yeah, and that's what we got to look at the younger generation, younger directors, to be like, okay, this is what I could do with an anime movie. It's not hokey, it's not goofy. Someone can elevate it, and again, it's just on that dramatic level, characterization level. It's not there, but the seeds are there and the actors are there, and I just hope on the next project that I just wish it did. It's like it's all because of James Cameron. If it wasn't for him, it would be another 20 years before it even got this good. So I just really hope that much younger directors and much younger actors that are, of a certain caliber are more indoctrinated and more just enthusiastic about doing good anime stories. For example, I know, even though Alita and Akira are the two like main ones, again, there's no passion director for Akira. It's been floating around forever. I know you're gonna make that Kanye West joke. Don't do it this time. Kanye West did not make fucking Akira in 4 minutes, all right? And then he tried to say,
I guess I didn't have to make the joke. You made it for me.
You got damn right. And I'm gonna take it out of your mouth. That guy's an arsehole, and that movie. Anyway, that music video was whatever. The song was good though. Anyway, you gotta give credit where credit's due, man. So anyway, we've got
totally. Yeah. Speaking of credit where credit's due, it's like you said, like this would not the potential to have more anime adapted to film and be like of this quality is only because Cameron. As much as I want to hate this fucking guy for bailing on this project and it ending up so question mark a little bit better, because people who don't like the source material seem to actually like it quite a bit, at least from my Facebook.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing, actually. I actually like that. So, I mean, it's disappointing as a fan. I mean, I have hopes. I actually was dreading this. Once we were like, oh, it's actually happening, we're going to be doing this, I'm like, oh my God. I just had my head in my hands up until I actually saw the movie. And, it wasn't terrible. It was disappointing as a fan, but the potential for it to be redone anyways, the way it should be, is, I think, plausible now, because the movie was good enough.
Yeah. But, one thing you said in that lost discussion we had about this before, I don't want to be pessimistic and say anything ultra negative, but James Cameron brought the digital beauty to the movie. With what we've got here with the script, if James Cameron didn't do the visuals here, this would have been a forgettable movie.
I would say for me, it would probably have been from low solid B, high watchable to like low end watchable, and which is forgettable to me.
Or you know what? Actually, I'm actually going to twist that negative as a positive. If they couldn't actually get the budget to make the CG animation and the visuals look so good, I actually think they might have focused more on the dramatic elements. They would have known that they can't do this crazy multiple and, you know, underground fighting. All the fight scenes were good, by the way. I thought they were really, really cool. She was so badass.
Really awesome. Yeah, the action's really cool, except for her hayas.
Yeah. They were reminding me of Chun-Li, but they, you know, yeah, man. And one other thing I didn't like about the movie as well is the flashbacks were very forced. The way they did it was just really corny.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about you know what? That's something I have to bring up too. Like the flashbacks kind of ruin a large part of Alita's journey because like she doesn't find out who she is up until literally the last part of the story. Like right before the end, she's like, that's who I was, really? You know, and then she has the decision to make, like, does she let that affect her and let it be important, or does she just live her life that she's been living, you know? So you can't have that now because it's like, well, we have to keep like feeding them like who was she and all this stuff instead of letting it be a driving force of the character to find out who she was.
That's the only time I kind of agree, because if they didn't do that and they left it a bit more mysterious, I don't think Western audiences would have been enthused enough to think, you think I'm going to watch part 2 to find out who she is? Fuck you. Because I know, like I said, a lot of people do not like this trilogy baiting. They do not like, I got to watch another one to find out what she's about. Fuck that. I'm sick of that myself, to be honest with you. So they did, don't get me wrong, they lost a lot by doing that. They really did. They lost a lot of the mystery. I would have preferred if they did it, but I just known it made it easy. It made it easier to digest for the Western audiences. And I do think it was the right decision. Probably could have been done better, especially the transition and how much they told you, because they told you a lot. They didn't need to tell you all that much. I'll tell you that much about her. You basically know what she's about. But, you know, I really feel like we're nitpicking now.
Hey, you told me to nitpick. I mean, no, I'm only doing what you told me to do.
No. It's fine. This is what people wanted. So hopefully, if you got all the way through our whole discussion, I think we pretty much was thorough. Again, you know, guys, it was really painful to lose an hour discussion thanks to Skype and then doing this again. But I really do think we covered everything we covered the last time on the Lost Review. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed
Nothing's coming to me, so I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, and it was short. It was about 10 minutes shorter than last time. So, yeah, we got to plug some things before we go, guys. You know, if you want to hear me, look, on Planet Tower right now. Oh, actually, I forgot. I mentioned this before. We're nearly, finally, at 1,000 subscribers.
We nearly are, or we actually are?
No, we're nearly. We're on that 970 something. You know, we'll get to probably in the next month or two. That's how drip slow we are. But a lot of people love the content. They really do. And yeah, man, thanks for sticking by. You know, the only reason we don't do as much on Planet Tower is because we're pursuing our other interests, which is related to video gaming, podcasts, and stuff like that. So I'm going to plug our secondary, well, it's our main, we got a new project we're focusing on. Catface has got one he's going to mention right now. But if you want to catch me and the Catface doing something more regularly, as well as a new cast of characters that I'm with right now, you guys already know. Voice of Mail podcast, voiceofmail.com. We just discuss everything, movies, trailers, a lot more thorough. It's one of the things we wish we did from day one because it encapsulates everything we do on Planet Tyrell anyway. But hey, Planet Tyrell is our reviewing channel, so this is where we're going to still keep our main reviews. So thanks for riding with us. But if you want to hear more from us, go to voiceofmail.com. And the Catface Killer is actually working on a brand new project of his own, which I want him to talk about right now.
Yeah, for sure. We're doing, we, as in my brother and I, are doing the Unlikely Brothers channel on Twitch TV. We're going to be doing it Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays for a few hours in the evening, Pacific time. Right now, we're pretty much almost done setting up all the physical equipment. Then we got to test everything and make sure we know how to actually, like, you know, upload the streams and record and all that other shit correctly. But we're pretty close to launching. I think the last week of February, next week, we'll probably start doing some test stuff, and we'll put that up on our channel so there's actually something to look at. Because right now we have a Discord, I have a Twitter, I actually technically have a Facebook, but that's probably like the least of my worries. And yeah, you know, we don't have anything on it, but you can subscribe to me on Twitter at Night Parrot. Yeah, at Night Parrot, and that's spelled with a K as in cat face. And I'll be like linking all of our shit there, at least the ones that I'm on. And you know, we'll put all the other info there too, and also on voiceofmail.com. On my profile, we'll put all my social links there too for the project.
All the socials for Catface's video game streaming stuff is already on the voicemail.com. So if you go to voicemail.com, go to staff. But also in this video description, I will put it down in the doobly-doo, so you can click on that and just find it there. But again, I can't stress enough, voicemail.com, really fun project. We talk about everything: news, politics, pop culture, trailers.
Most importantly, voicemails that are sent in to us.
Yeah, you can send a voicemail. Look, if you want to reply to the discussion we just had and you don't want to type 100 characters or whatever, you can just go to voicemail.com on your smartphone, press one button and send in the voice message. And don't worry, if you don't know, we're going to be promoting the hell out of that. We've got t-shirts, we've got a store. I'm actually getting tired of cross promoting right now. Go to voicemail.com, just join our discussion. If you love what we do here on Planet Tyro, we're doing more of that on Voicemail. We're going to find a way to combine the two down the line, but for now, it's definitely my favorite passion project. But Planet Tyro's not going anywhere. There's so many things. If you want a quick update, there's so much manga reviews I want to do on this channel that I will do eventually, documentary, stuff like that. But until we can have extra time and we're rich and we can just focus all our time on these video streaming projects, then they're going to come in drips and drabs. So guys, I just want to say thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for supporting us. Again, all links in the description. Follow us at Planet Tyro, at Voice of Mail. Just go down below and just find all the links there. I'm tired of clickbaiting and just promoting. Thank you for listening.
You haven't done the most important thing is, hey, if you're the 1,000th subscriber to planettyro.com, we will send you a free whatever you want from Voice of Mail merchandise.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you want to, I'll get you a free sticker or a free shirt. Just let me know. Well, actually, I'll find out.
A personalized autograph.
Yeah. Something like that. Autograph? I don't know. Maybe. But anyway, Catface, let's get the hell out of here. Thank you guys for listening for our Alita Battle Angel review. I have no idea what anime and manga is going to be next adapted, but out of curiosity, even if it's something crappy like Cowboy Bebop done by Netflix with a low budget, we're probably going to watch it and talk about it. So stay tuned. But until then, Catface, thanks for coming on. And listeners, watchers, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, thanks for riding with us. And we'll see you on the next recording.
Yeah, hopefully I see you at my Twitch channel. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot different than other stuff, I think.
Yeah, man. Please follow Catface. See you later.